we go. Welcome back to episode 41 of UnHammered with your host, Brantt Myhres. And hope you lovely humans have done well the last week. And remember last week when I was mentioning that I had what was the word? I don't know. I guess I was just a little bit, having one of those weeks. So it just was sort of pissing me off in a way, a little bit irritating. But I got a story to share. I got a cool story to share with you guys, and hopefully you'll relate, some of you, to fear, to the word fear. And as we know, that word is, it's scary. It's the big boogeyman, right? And you know, fear. If you talk about it as FEAR, I was told it was fuck everything and run. Fuck everything and run, put everything down. And I did for a while. We'll get into that. But anyways, folks, I hope you're doing well and you guys have stayed unhammered. If you haven't stayed unhammered, I love you as well. It's all great. What are we going to do here? We're going to cheers to the miracle. Yeah. Why don't we do that? Cheers to the miracle, everybody. When I was on an AA meeting the other night, and guys were taking, I think it was 90 days. A guy named Steve took 90 days, and then somebody else took, was it 4 years of sobriety? And the kid or the gentleman that took 4 years of sobriety, he just had this glow about him, and even after 4 years, he was just so grateful to be sober and the gifts of sobriety in his life and how his life turned around strictly because of it, nothing because of anything else, really. Having a faith in some type of a higher power and working the steps. And anyways, so it really made my night. I never met the kid before. I saw him that night on the meeting on Zoom, and it just impressed me on how he had this brightness about him after 4 years of sobriety. And hang on to it, man. Hang on to it. I had those moments of, I guess you call it the pink parachute or the pink cloud or whatever, right? And somebody in the meeting once said, hey, make sure that you got a pink parachute for that pink cloud. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. I got 8 years. I'm fucking good, right? I got 9 years. I'm good. I got 14 years. I'm not so good. Not doing so good. And then he was right. I needed a pink parachute and I didn't have it. But I have it today. It's not, well, yeah, there it is. Little pink. If you're watching, I guess I got a pink rabbit. So there's my little pink parachute, everybody. But, hey, running, skipping, jumping, hiking. If you've battled this disease and you've dealt with the fear for today, just for today, if you dealt with it for a week, a month, or 365 days, or even multiple years, you guys in my books are all a miracle here. And grab your tea, grab whatever you're drinking right now, and cheers to. You don't have to cheers to anybody else. You can cheers to yourself on this one, right? Because only you know what you've done and the work that you put in. And when you put your head down on the pillow at night and you've made it another day clean, your friends can tap you on the back and say, oh, good job, congratulations, and all that. And that's great. And you need that. But only you know when you're laying there at night and you say your prayer, what you've done throughout the day to stay clean. Congrats to you. All right, here we go. Let's get into her. With a little, is centerization a word? I don't know. I doubt it. Sometimes I just make fucking words up. I want to act smart, even though I'm not. Whatever. All right, what day are we at? All right. Here's a thought for the day. If we had absolute faith in the power of God to keep us from drinking and drugging, and if we turned our drinking problem and drugging problem entirely over to God without any reservations, we wouldn't have to do anything more about it. We'd be free from drink and drug once and for all. But since our faith is apt to be weak, We have to strengthen and build up the faith. We do this in several ways. One way is by going to meetings and listening to others tell you how they have found all strength they need to overcome the drink and drug. Is my faith being strengthened by this personal witness of other alcoholics? Okay, that was the thought. You got to think about that one. Meditation. It is the quality of my life that determines its value. In order to judge the value of one person's life, we must set up a standard. Oh, I talked about standards last week, didn't I? The most valuable life is one of honesty, purity, unselfishness, and love. All people's lives ought to be judged by this statement and their value to the world. By this standard, most of the so-called heroes of history were not great men. All right. Prayer for the day. Well, we're going to do our prayer for the day, which is the Serenity Prayer. And if you guys are ready for that, let's do that. Okay. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and that wisdom to know the difference between the two. Let's talk about courage, everybody. I want to talk about courage because I dealt with something a few days ago that has literally crippled me. It's crippled me in not a good way. This started about a year ago, and for those of you who've been on the journey for 41 weeks, you've heard me talk about it. You're going to hear a little bit more about it in depth on what happened to me a few days ago. So about 6 years ago, I had this dentist, and he went and did a root canal. And anyways, a tooth needed to be pulled. And I said, is it going to hurt? And he said, no, you won't feel a thing. It's just going to be a lot of pressure. I said, great. Okay, cool. Long story short, as he's cracking away, I hear the roots cracking. And that's it for me, folks. I go out. I wake up holding a nurse's hand. And I was traumatized by that event because I'm trying to speak. I'm almost awake, but I'm not really awake. And it's fucking freaky. So anyways, I say to myself, well, I ain't going back to the dentist unless I'm like, what's his name from Castaway when he had Wilson in the fucking cave. And then he had the figure skate. He knocked her out. That's it. That's all. That's as far as I'm going to go. I'm going to be Wilson in a cave. But that wasn't the case. So last year, before I went to film Carey Price, my tooth was bothering me. And I went in and he said that I probably need a root canal. And those take a while. Those take an hour and a half to 2 hours. And anyway, so I keep sort of putting this off all summer. Every day I'm thinking about it, though. I'm going through the fear, right? What if? What if? That fucking terrible word, what if? Doesn't even exist. God damn it. Anyways, I'm doing the what ifs all summer. And I what if it until I can't what if it anymore. And I wake up in the middle of the night and I got to call emergency. And this was back at Christmas. So anyways, I go in and I get a root canal done. And I'm terrified. But I hang in there for some reason. And 2 hours goes by and he says it's done. Well, a few days go by. And long story short, it's been months now, obviously, since Christmas, right? And it doesn't hurt to eat or anything, but there's sensitivity still when I rub it on one side. I think there's nerve damage, to be quite honest. Anyways, let's get to the real point here. I go in last week because this other tooth is bothering me on the other side. And the doctor, his name is Dr. Kern. He works for the Edmonton Oilers. He's a great guy. By the way, hey, Doc, if you're listening, man, you're the best. So anyways, I go in and he takes an x-ray. And he comes back to me and he goes, hey, Brantt. He goes, that back molar on the top? I go, yeah. He goes, there's a deep cavity there. And I go, really? Can you fix it? Nope. Well, what do you mean? I start getting all like tensed up. What do you mean? He's going to say the word. He's going to say the word. Why don't we just yank it, he says. And I go like, what do you, like right now? We're going to pull it now? He goes, yeah, we're going to do it now. I do it all the time, man. It's no big deal. I do it on the plane. I do it in the dressing room. Somebody just had the same thing. Their molar was infected and we had to pull it. I go, oh God. So now I start going through the scenarios of fear in my brain, right? The fear that I had, that I was gonna pass out and I was gonna lose control. We talk about losing control in here of our lives. Excuse me, and some of the outcomes. So anyways, I say to him, well, what about like a sedative? What about an Ativan or something that I can take and put under my tongue? Can you guys put an IV in my arm and fucking knock me out? He's like, I don't really think you need that. But yeah, we can get it for if you want. I said, okay. I said, how long is it going to take? He goes, I don't know, a few minutes. I go, oh God, okay. I go, can I go for a walk? He goes, yeah, go for a walk. So you guys, I'm so in fear at this point, I can't think straight because I'm going to the worst case scenario, right? It's a little ties into the sobriety too. When you first get sober, it's the worst case scenario. Never going to be able to have fun again. Never going to enjoy my life. Never going to enjoy music, golfing, camping. Never going to be able to do the things I used to do and enjoy them, right? You go to the worst case scenario. And this is what I'm doing right now. So I leave the office. At this point, I'm about 99% sure that I'm not going to do it that day and I'm going to go get sedated at the fucking hospital. But as I'm walking to the grocery store, I'm thinking to myself, man, you've sure been through a lot in your life, Brantt. You've been through teeth knocked out. You've been through concussions, broken tib and fib where your toes were pointing the other way. You've been in car accidents. And you've stayed sober for 14 years in a row. You've stared down a lot of things in your life, sir. And you can stare this one down too. And as I'm listening to that, I'm at the point where I'm going to confront myself. I'm going to confront this boogeyman that's been living in my head for a fucking year. It's not a day, it's a year. Thinking about it every day. So I go to my truck. I get my headphones out. I walk back into the dentist chair. And he comes in, he says, what are we doing? I said, freeze me up. Freeze me up. Let's go. So I know that some people might think that this isn't really a big deal. It's just a tooth. You know what? It's not about the fucking tooth. It's not about the tooth. It's not about the pain. It's about this between my fucking ears that I've been dealing with for a year regarding it. Has nothing to do with the tooth. I'm at a point now where it's me against me. It's me against me. And I got to win this time. So he freezes me up and then he goes, this one's going to sting. He fucking puts it right in the roof. And boy, oh boy, as I'm sitting there, I got my headset in and he comes in. And I got the Bon Jovi just fucking crank, so I can't hear the roots crack this time. No, I don't want to hear nothing cracking other than the fucking drums. And he gets in there and he starts grinding. He starts fucking grinding. And it's a molar, right? It's been in there 51 years. Think it's going to be easy to get out? No. And the pressure is coming, and all I can remember is flashbacks, right? I'm getting flashbacks. And I just say, hang in there, man. Hang in there. You're going to be done soon, dude. And after 7 minutes, he gives me the tap and he said, attaboy, you're done. And I just grabbed his arm and I said, oh, thank you. Like, I don't think he understood what I went through mentally for a year regarding the fear of dentistry. And he told me, he said, Brantt, he said, your tooth was so, he said, your cavity was so far gone in your molar that the reason why it took me about 2 extra minutes is when I grabbed it, it collapsed. It fucking shattered. Wow. So needless to say, I got it out of there. And needless to say, those of you who are listening, what does it mean to you to sit in that chair? What does it mean to you to sit in that chair? The dentist chair. I'm using that as a metaphor. What does that mean to you to sit in that chair and not fucking leave? Could that be an AA chair? NA? What is it? What chair are you going to fucking sit in? And it's daily. Just saying, it's daily. I hope you stay in that chair because I realized something. I realized that the boogeyman wasn't real. And I realized that all my fears that I had for 365 fucking days didn't come true. I made it. Nothing. Some pressure and the tooth was gone. That's it. So, what chair are you guys avoiding of sitting in? I'd like to know. Tell me. So there's my tooth story. And guess what? Because of me not going to the dentist, there's another one that may need to get pulled. And you know what? Right on, bring it. It's funny, hey, when you face it, he's like, oh, this other one might need to get pulled. I'm like, yep, no problem. I'll do it. Fucking wild, man. Wild. This person wrote in, hey, Brantt, drugs and alcohol gave me some incredible memories. Not all was dire straits, ! No, I had some, my Lord, some amazing times drinking and doing drugs. Yeah, doing blow and drinking and that kind of stuff. I mean, you got to remember, I grew up in the 90s, man. I was really hitting my stride in the 90s. And I lived in Edmonton, Alberta in the summers when I wasn't playing hockey. And we went out. We talked to people. Not like these kids nowadays. They don't talk to people. They don't talk. They fucking text them, right? We didn't do that. We had to go talk to people. And Monday night was Club Malibu in Edmonton. Tuesday night was Ezzy's, the country bar. Wednesday night was Barry T's. Thursday night was Squires. Or Thunderdome. Thunderdome was great because they played hockey fights and they played AC/DC and Motley Crue all fucking night. Well, you had like $1 beers. It was awesome. I think you could smoke back then too in the bar. And then what was Saturday, Sunday? Take your pick, man. Take your pick. We were fucking out every night. And I had some amazing times. It's amazing that I only hit the clinker once or twice, right? An old jail cell. Had to use a toilet paper roll to sleep on it because I didn't have a pillow. Anyways, I don't know if I told you that story. Maybe I'll tell that next week when I got arrested. Arrested. They didn't take me home. They took me to jail. But yeah, anyways, hey, yeah, no, listen, man, all those memories I had when I was drinking and drugging, actually part of me, it's a little bit nostalgic. You look back and you think, Jesus Christ, like, man, when I was young, I sure had a lot of fun. Were there consequences? Yeah, there was consequences, but there's also consequences of you never fucking trying anything in your life, right? You never wanting to explore or do anything. And just basically being a hermit and not going anywhere and really pushing the limits. I didn't do that, man. I pushed the limits. And if this old heart was, if it stopped beating today, I'd say to God, hey, thank you so much for an incredible journey. What a journey it was. And what an experience. Could it have been better? I think it could have been, I wouldn't use the word better. I'd use the word emotionally supportive. I think for me, emotionally supportive with love, family, connection. That's probably the first question I'm going to have at the gates. Yeah, I'm going to have that one. But other than that, I was blessed with so many wonderful things, and the blessings continue. But again, I'm dead in 2008 if I don't go to Astoria, Oregon. I'm fucking buried. Because just a month before that, I was looking outside the window. Remember I was telling you that story when I was looking outside the window and I was staring at the stars and I said, "Take me home, I'm done. I'm done." And I was done. I didn't want to live anymore. And I want to live today. So yeah, man, no, hey, drugs and alcohol, fuck yeah. Some fucking amazing times on it. And then it became not so amazing. That's what happens with the progression. It's a progressive disease, everybody. Starts out fun. Starts out chasing women and fucking racing cars and flipping cars, and you didn't get hurt, and you only go to jail for 2 days, and then it turns into something else. It just does. Look at all those mobster movies. What do we got here? Talk about friends in your life. That's a interesting one. Hey, when you're young, you meet these kids in your life, and boy or girl, and the first girl I ever loved, her name was Shauna. Her name was Shauna Gale. If you're listening, Shauna, I think I still love you. Maybe. I was 5 years old, and I remember this day perfectly. I was at Shauna's house in the backyard in Grand Center, Alberta. It must have been 74. So it would have been 1979, 78, around there. And for some reason, Shauna had this long blonde hair, and she was 5 years old too. I imagine we were in kindergarten. But anyways, we're in her backyard, and we're in a sand pit. And Shauna writes, she takes her finger and she draws a heart. This is at 5 years old. I might have been 6. You know me, I don't like to lie about anything. So I may have been 6. She draws a heart and she writes, SG plus BM. And I've never forgotten that feeling I had when I was I in love? Yeah, I was in love. I looked at her and I was in love with her. And I thought I was going to marry her. You have relationships that you think you're going to be with somebody forever. And that goes with your friends. That goes with your so-called best buddies for life. It ain't that way. It ain't that way, man. Life intervenes with your friends. And you have friends that you would hug and laugh and cry together and say you'd be there forever for each other. And then something happens, and maybe it's not even your fault. Maybe it's something they've done to hurt you. And you say, "Fuck you, I'm done." No, you don't fucking treat me like that. You're lucky I don't knock your fucking teeth out. You're lucky. You're getting a pass on this one, bud, just because we said we were best friends. You fucking asshole. And there's been a couple people like that in my life that, man, oh man, when we go back to the drinking and the partying and all that and be, so-called best buddies, they turned their backs on me. And they said some really mean things about me, and you know who you are. And yeah, I guess it hurts because you just share so many years with them, and you wish things were different. You wish you could. You wish those words didn't, because words hurt. Words cut deep, and people think like, oh, just because he said this, you can forgive him and all that. Listen, man, every time my dad said those words that he said to me that I wrote about in the book, towards the end of the book, I got to tell you, I remember almost verbatim what my father said to me. And when he said to me, and I know this was out of anger from my dad. I get it. He was really mad at me, and I was mad at him, and we weren't seeing eye to eye, but he said, "I never really loved you anyways." And those words will stick with me until I die, no matter whether he meant them or not. He said them, right? And I have to be very cautious about my children on what goes in those ears, no matter what they do to me. No matter what they do to me. Yes, I'm disappointed in you. Yes, 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 yes. But I'll never say that I never loved you. I mean, that to me, that's probably the hardest thing I had with my father, not the money and all that kind of stuff. But when my pop said that to me, and you know, I know my dad didn't know how to deal with disappointment, and I wasn't the best son. I let my father down a lot, and I broke promises to my dad, and I had resentment against my father for certain things of, you know, but at the end of the day, my dad did the best that he could. And my point is about words. Be very careful on what you say to the people that you love, because that won't go away. You know, I still remember a couple of the verses that my old girlfriend said to me, you know, and they don't leave. They don't leave. They stay with you. So yeah, I was just wondering, you know, like, I don't know. And then what is a best friend? Like, what's a friend to you? How many times do they call you a week? What would a best friend call you a week? Or check in? Once? Is once a week too much to ask for a best friend to check in? I don't think so. How about if your mom dies? What about if your mother dies? And there's a funeral. And your best friend lives in that town. Would you go to the funeral with him? Would you support him? Would you invite him to stay at your house? Or would you let him and his son stay in a hotel room? Is that a best friend? I don't know. You tell me. So what is a best friend? Is it just fucking talk? Oh, he's my best friend. Or is it actions? I think it's actions, folks. You're judged by what you do, not by what you say you're going to do, by what you do. So yeah, how many of my best friends showed up at my mom's funeral? One. Hey, Brantt, couple questions. Hey, Brantt, which did you like better, the hardcover version of your book or the audiobook? Man, they're both different. So they're so different. They're both labor intensive. The book took a long time. The book took a year, but a little over a year. But the audiobook was an interesting one, because what happened with that is, like, as you're writing out sequences of the book with your editor, you're going over, you can stop, blah, blah, blah. But with the audiobook, it's different. You're in a studio and you have somebody, you're in a room by yourself, and everything's enclosed. And there's a big iPad in front of you, and there's a producer that's not there in the city. He's far away, but he's watching you. And then you have the another producer in studio. And anyways, on this big iPad is your book, and you have to read it word for word. And if you say like them or there, and it's not supposed to, they stop you right away, and you go back again. So anyways, I would start at 8 a.m. I would start reading, and I would leave at 3:00 in the afternoon, I guess. Well, Jesus, what's that? How many hours is that? Anybody do math? Not me. Is that 8 hours? Anyways, I would do that, and they would stop me. They would hear my voice start to go. I'd start to lose it after about maybe 5 hours or something like that, right? Maybe 6 hours. And they would stop, and then I'd be done for the day. But the part, like, what was really hard for me was when I had to speak about things that were really hurtful. So when I got sexually molested when I was 10 years old as a little boy from that big brother, Charlie Bluang is his name. And I talk about that. I talked about so many things that were emotional. And the day that I couldn't get through, was the day that my dad died. And I'd start to read it. I'd start to read the sentence, and then I'd start to break down, and they'd stop me right away. And they'd say, go take a break. And I'd come back, and I'd start at the part where I was holding his hand when he was dying. And then I'd break down, and I'd have to leave again. And this went on the whole day. And they caught a little bit of it at the end, though, didn't they? Those sneaky guys. They caught the emotion coming out at the end of that paragraph when I said that I miss my dad. And wish I was a better son. Wish I was a better son. If he was here, I wouldn't talk about him. I would talk about me and how I could be a better person. Not you, me. I like both of the versions. The audio was hard. The audio took 34 hours to record. Long recording sessions, man. Hey, Brantt, how's the beverage coming along? Great. Great. We're going to have, I think it's some type of taste thing going on here in the next few weeks or something like that. We've been trying to narrow down the marketing company to market in branding and all that kind of stuff, and website development and all that. But the number one thing is getting this thing to taste amazing, right? Because so far I've only tasted the one or two that I enjoy. That Corona 0.0, I really like that Sunbrew. And then I wasn't a fan of some other ones. I won't mention them because that's not a nice thing to do. Somebody else loves it. Just because I don't like it. Somebody else loves it. and they're worth $1 billion. They're doing something right. But anyways, it's coming along great. I'm hoping to have the samples done, and then we pay for the graphic designer to do the can. We're going to make it a nice edgy can. It's not going to be some, prissy polo looking thing. It's going to have some edge to it. And it's going to taste great. If you're a beer drinker, this thing's going to taste fucking awesome. I can't wait. So yeah, it's coming along. What are we at here? I don't even know. I've been just sort of rambling on today, which is fine, right? It's all good. What do we got here? So yeah. All right, maybe we can get into that's one thing I wanted to mention to you guys. I was sort of thinking about it. Is there anything in your life or your current situation that you're embarrassed of physically? Is there anything you're embarrassed of physically? Is it your body, the way that it looks? Is it your face? Is it your nose? Is it your teeth aren't nice and white? What else? There's just so many things that we're critical of our features. And, as I'm getting older, I start to see like everything starts to the gravity takes over and it starts to drop. Skin's not as tight as it used to be. But where I'm going with this is, it's funny how you get little reminders. So when I wanted to end my life that night in bed, looking at the stars, I was not only high on cocaine and sweating and sleeping in dog hair, but I had psoriasis all over my body, and it was a result of my body being broken down and sick for a while. And having no nutrients and no sleep, and my body just fought back. So I had psoriasis. And if any of you have had psoriasis or this skin disease, what it does is it looks like, that's fucking gross. It's like red scaly shit on your body, okay? And this stuff, guys, it didn't just like cover, a piece of my arm. I had it in my fucking hair. I had it on chest, all over my hands, my arms. I was covered, my feet, my toes. And that had a big part to play in the suicide, because I was taking all this rubbing medication to put it on and it wouldn't go away. And I thought I'd rather die than look like this. I can't leave the house. I'm wearing long sleeve shirts so nobody sees my hands, and I would pray to God, please let this go away. Please help me with the psoriasis. And it wasn't going away until, guess when? When I stopped drinking, when I got sober. I went to treatment, and I noticed after 1 month, my psoriasis was gone. I was sleeping. I was drinking lots of water. I was eating vegetables and fruits. I was exercising. And what do you know? My psoriasis was gone. And you know what, guys? My psoriasis has been gone for 18 years. But, there's a but. The other day, I looked at my hand. And can you see it? Right here, this knuckle. Just a little fucking dot. That's just a little dot to remind me. You're never out of the woods, Brantt. And you know what? Maybe start focusing on being grateful for your whole body not having psoriasis, because it was taking you to the point where you were going to, want to commit suicide. So guess what? This little dot, I don't want it to go away. This little guy right here, I want it to fucking stay every day, and I want to look at it. I want to be grateful that it's not in my scalp, and it's not under my arms and on my chest and on my hands. So thank you, God, for that. Thank you for that it's just a little dot. Amen to that. Okay, let's rock and roll with Vision for You. And where is it here? We'll do a Vision for You if I can find it. It's a long chapter. I don't know, maybe I can't find it. Maybe we'll just do a prayer. Yeah, I guess I can't. It starts out with our book is A Vision for You. Our book is meant to be suggestive only. We realize we know only a little. God will constantly disclose more to you and to us. Ask Him in your morning meditation what you can do each day for the man or woman who is still sick. The answers will come if your own house is in order. But obviously, you cannot transmit something you haven't got. See to it that your relationship with Him is right, and great events will come to pass for you and countless others. This is a great fact for us. Abandon yourself to God as you understand God. Admit your faults to Him and to your fellows. Clear away the wreckage of your past. Give freely of what you find and join us. We shall be with you in the fellowship of the Spirit. And you will surely meet some of us as you trudge that road of happy destiny. May God bless you and keep you until then. Amen. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in for another episode of UnHammered. I like this one, man. This one I didn't really have anything to really like script about, go over too much. I was just in an emotional state, and I hope that some of you guys related to what I talked about today about the fear and the embarrassment of the way we look and how to, what is that chair for you? Are you sitting, what chair are you going to sit in and not leave? We can all do it, folks. We can all do it. We can all do it together. And let's stay unhammered together for the next 7 days. You beautiful humans, have a great week. And we'll see you soon. Thanks.